Bruce Banner was slipping, trapped in a nightmare, and the Hulk was no longer in control. Batman knew the signs. He'd seen minds break before. But this was different. The Hulk's rage was being manipulated, not by a villain, but by something cosmic. Superman arrived too early, or maybe too late. Bruce had built mental walls. Batman was trying to break in, gently. But Superman? He tore the walls down with heat, vision, and desperation. Two heroes, one broken mind, and only one shot to save it. And when the Hulk opened his eyes, the war had already begun. Bruce Banner was missing. Not physically. He was right there, surrounded by rubble, crouched in the center of what used to be a shield containment facility. But mentally, he was gone. Eyes open, pupils dilated, breathing erratic. And the Hulk wasn't there. That's what terrified the Avengers most. Thor couldn't wake him. Iron Man scans just bounced back with corrupted data. No brainwave pattern, no gamma spikes, nothing. It was as if the Hulk had folded in on himself and taken Banner with him. Doctor Strange tried a spell to reach his consciousness. It snapped in half mid-chant. That's when Batman appeared. Not with thunder, not with fanfare, just shadows and silence. He stepped through a breach opened by Reed Richards, holding a small black case. No cape, no theatrics, just intent. He's not broken, Batman said. He's being rewritten. Captain Marvel bristled. By who? Not who, Batman replied. By what? Bruce's mind wasn't just shut down, it was under siege. Something deep, alien, viral. Not a psychic attack, not magic, not even tech. It was old. Something left behind in Hulk's last fight in the negative zone. Something that crawled into his consciousness and made a nest. Batman had seen this before, not with Hulk, but with Martian Manhunter once, during a forgotten mission in the Phantom Sector. He knew the signs, the looping stare, the fragmented reality echoes, the complete silence of the ID. But this was worse, because the Hulk's mind wasn't just stuck. It was evolving, faster than anyone expected. Batman opened the case. Inside was a neural spike, Kryptonian enhanced, modified with Atlantean silver, a hybrid tech designed to bridge minds, not hack them. He knelt beside Hulk and slid it into place, right at the base of the skull. I'm going in, he said. Alone, asked Natasha. If I bring anyone else in, he might wake up. And if Hulk woke up wrong, game over. The second the spike activated, Batman's eyes rolled back and his body slumped. Inside, his mind fell into noise. Not sound, not visuals, just raw, psychic noise. Gamma-colored storms, screaming echoes, childhood trauma, and world-breaking rage compressed into a single thought loop. He was inside Hulk's mind, but it wasn't the Hulk he knew. It was Bruce's fear of the Hulk, amplified, weaponized, fed by something with no name. Around him, memories flickered like broken TV signals. Bruce's father yelling, the accident, the first transformation, Betty Ross screaming, Thunderbolt Ross's betrayal, every failed cure, every time someone called him a monster, each one carved into the walls of this dream space like scars. Batman walked deeper. He was looking for Bruce, but the voice that found him first wasn't Bruce's. It was Superman's, only it didn't sound like the Superman Batman knew. It was colder, sharper, less human. Bruce is lost, the voice echoed through the void. You shouldn't be here, Bruce Wayne. Batman spun, his mind forming defenses even in this psychic realm. Clark, is that you? A shape stepped forward from the static, the S symbol glowing, eyes burning faint red, not with anger, but with clarity. It was Superman, or rather, a projection of him. But this version wasn't created by Superman himself. It was created by Bruce's idea of Superman, the judge, the god, the savior who always had the answer, and would burn down anything that stood in the way of what he thought was peace. You don't belong in his mind, the echo of Superman said. Batman clenched his jaw. I'm here to bring him back. You can't, because deep down, Bruce doesn't want to come back. Not as himself, not as the Hulk. He wants to be something else. The world shifted. Suddenly, Batman was standing in the ruins of New York. Buildings crushed, skies red, bodies everywhere. In the center of the chaos, Hulk stood still, glowing with heat-vision eyes, floating. Bruce wants control, the Superman echo continued. He sees me as control, as discipline, as salvation. And you? You're the voice of guilt, of fear. He's locking you out, Bruce Wayne, just like he locked out the monster. Batman moved fast, pulling from his belt a flash drive of compressed memories. Bruce's happiest moments, his real ones. Not victories, not battles, just quiet scenes, coffee with Betty, laughing in the lab with Tony, petting a stray dog in India. Proof that Bruce was still in there. He uploaded them into the psychic realm, letting the memories flood the dream space. The Superman echo recoiled. For a moment, the world trembled. Batman shouted into the storm, "You're not Superman. You're a manifestation of trauma." Bruce doesn't need a god. He needs to forgive himself. There was a crack in the sky, a scream, and from beneath the ground, Bruce Banner finally emerged, barefoot, trembling, eyes wide, chained to the earth by gamma bonds. Batman ran to him. "Bruce, it's me. You're not alone." Bruce looked up, tears forming. I let it in," he whispered. "I was tired of being scared. It said it could help, that it could make me stronger, not angrier, smarter, more like him." The sky shifted. The Superman echo was burning, melting, morphing into something else, a hybrid form. Not Hulk, not Kal-El, but both. Outside, in the real world, Hulk's body began to twitch. Thor stepped back. He's waking. Iron Man checked vitals. Brain activity spiking. Something's, whoa. Wait, he's absorbing solar energy. Superman had just arrived on the battlefield. The real Superman. He froze as he looked at the Hulk's body and saw his own symbol glowing faintly on the Hulk's chest. "What did you do, Bruce?" Superman muttered. Because the Hulk wasn't just waking up. He was waking up as something new. And Superman had gotten there first. The Hulk opened his eyes, and everything stopped. The sky above him darkened, not with clouds, but with something far stranger. A ripple, like the sky itself was flinching. His chest heaved once, then again. With each breath, the ground cracked. But it wasn't gamma radiation leaking from his skin anymore. It was solar energy, white-hot, condensed sunlight, pulsing through his veins. Superman's energy signature. Thor lowered his hammer. "That is not the Hulk I know." Even Dr. Strange hesitated. "He's been rewritten. A fusion. This isn't possession, it's imprinting." And then came the voice. Not a roar, not the guttural thunder the Hulk was known for. Just a sentence. Calm, measured, terrifying. "I remember everything." Banner's voice. Clear, cold, echoing with something beneath it. A tone that wasn't his. A resonance. Like two voices were speaking at once, perfectly in sync. Batman sat up from the ground nearby, still dazed from the mental dive. His face was pale, his pulse irregular. "Pull everyone back," he said. "Now." But it was already too late. The Hulk turned toward Superman, the real Superman, floating just meters above the battlefield, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. Their eyes met, and Hulk smiled. "You tried to fix me. I remember that. But you didn't ask if I wanted to be fixed." Superman dropped from the sky, landing hard, creating a shockwave of dust. "Bruce, whatever this is, we can undo it. Let me help you." Hulk tilted his head. "There is no Bruce. Not anymore." He made a choice. He opened the door, and you walked through it. Then he vanished. Not ran, not leapt. Vanished. Superman looked around in shock. Then suddenly, a blow slammed into his back, sending him crashing through 3 mountains like paper walls. He didn't even see it coming. Hulk was fast. Too fast. Faster than ever before. He appeared again above Strange's shield, hovering midair. Eyes glowing red, skin still green, but his aura now a swirling storm of gold and crimson. A hybrid of rage and solar control. Strange threw a binding spell. It shattered before it even touched him. Captain Marvel launched forward and was caught mid-flight. Hulk grabbed her by the chest, absorbed her energy blast like it was a breath of wind, and threw her into orbit. "She'll survive," he said. "Probably." Iron Man deployed the Hulkbuster. It lasted 12 seconds. The new Hulk, this Solar Hulk, tore through the armor like wrapping paper. But he didn't kill. He stopped short, letting Tony eject. That's when Batman knew. He was testing them, not attacking out of rage, not smashing in blind fury. He was watching, calculating, seeing what they could do, and how fast they could do it. Superman returned, eyes blazing, cape torn. "You absorbed part of my mind," he said, fists clenched. "You're carrying something you don't understand." "I understand perfectly," Solar Hulk replied. "You live in restraint, in control. You hold back to protect them. I never did. But now I can do both." Superman struck first. The shockwave split the Earth in a 200-mile radius. Trees flattened. Oceans recoiled. Satellites blinked out. But Solar Hulk stood firm. He caught Superman's punch and didn't flinch. Then he retaliated. And for the first time in years, Superman bled. Not much, just a cut across his cheek. But the silence that followed said everything. Batman watched, calculating. This wasn't about strength anymore. This was philosophy made flesh. A being of limitless power forged by trauma, now enhanced by the very essence of restraint and judgment. A Hulk who didn't lose control. A Hulk who chose to win. And now, everyone was just trying to survive him. Hulk looked around at the broken battlefield, at the scattered heroes. "You all think I'm unstable, dangerous, but you've never asked what happens when the monster gets smarter." He pointed to Superman. "He feared my rage. I feared his restraint. So I took both. And now," he slammed both fists into the ground. Time stopped. Literally. Dr. Strange gasped. "He's affecting the time stream. Without a relic. Without a spell. He's bending rules." Flash, who had been running at near light speed, froze mid-step. Everything was locked in place, except for Batman. Of course. Hulk stepped toward him calmly. "You're the only one who tried to talk to me," Hulk said. "You reached for Bruce. You tried to pull him back. That was kind. But it's done now." He didn't want to come back. He wanted to become. Batman looked up at him. "So what are you now?" "I'm the balance. I'm the line between anger and control, between destruction and judgment. And if they try to stop me?" Batman asked. Hulk looked to the sky, where SWRD carriers and Kree drones were already massing in orbit. He smiled again. "They won't stop me." He reached out and touched Batman's chest. In that instant, Batman saw everything. Not just gamma, not just heat vision, but galaxies forming, civilizations ending, versions of Hulk in other timelines, other multiverses. One who became Sorcerer Supreme. One who wielded Mjolnir. One who became the Devourer of Worlds. But this version, this Hulk, he was choosing not to destroy. Not yet. Time snapped back. Everyone gasped as motion returned to the battlefield. Superman stood, blinking. What did he just do? Batman didn't answer. He was staring at the Hulk, not with fear, but with something much worse. Uncertainty. Because this Hulk wasn't mad. He was focused. And that made him the most dangerous version of all. The world didn't feel safe anymore. Not because it was broken, but because it was being spared. That was the unsettling truth sinking into everyone's bones as Solar Hulk floated above the battlefield, arms crossed, eyes glowing with calm authority. He wasn't raging. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't smashing cities to prove a point. He was deciding. Superman felt it first. That quiet pressure in the air. The same feeling he got standing before the Phantom Zone projector or hearing the hum of the source wall. A presence that wasn't hostile, but absolute. "You don't get to choose for everyone," Superman said, forcing himself upright. His body ached in ways it hadn't in decades. "That's not balance. That's tyranny." Solar Hulk looked at him, really looked. "You've chosen for everyone your entire life," he replied. "You just call a hope." The words hit harder than the punch had. Around them, heroes regrouped. Thor spun Mjolnir, uncertain. Captain Marvel returned from orbit, burning with fury. Dr. Strange whispered emergency counterspells under his breath, each one failing before it even finished forming. Nothing worked, because Solar Hulk wasn't breaking the rules. He was stepping around them. Batman moved quietly, already adapting. He wasn't watching Hulk anymore. He was watching Superman. Watching how Clark reacted when someone else stood where he usually stood. Watching the hesitation. "Clark," Batman said calmly. "He's not lying." Superman turned sharply. "You're on his side now?" "No," Batman replied. "I'm on reality's side." That was when Solar Hulk raised a single finger, and the sky split. Not with lightning, with vision. The air folded inward, forming a massive, circular projection above the planet. Billions saw it instantly, on screens, in reflections in the sky itself. A multiversal broadcast. Earths burning, worlds conquered, timelines collapsing under unchecked power. Versions of Superman standing over ruins, not evil, but too late. Versions of Hulk ending everything, not angry, but alone. "I've seen what happens when power chooses nothing," Solar Hulk said, his voice echoing across dimensions. "And I've seen what happens when power pretends it's neutral." He turned toward Superman. "You stop threats when they scream loud enough. I stop them before they're born." Dr. Strange shouted, "This is madness. You're collapsing probability paths." "No," Hulk corrected. "I'm pruning them." And then he showed them the future. A single thread. A war 10 years from now. A cosmic coalition led by Darkseid, Kong, and something worse. Something even Strange couldn't name. Earth lost. Not because heroes were weak, but because they hesitated. Because they argued. Because they waited. Batman saw it. Superman saw it. And they both realized the same horrifying truth. Solar Hulk wasn't guessing. He was remembering. "You let something ancient into your mind," Superman said quietly. "Something that shouldn't exist." Hulk nodded. "It showed me everything. And then I showed it mercy." That was the moment Superman understood. This wasn't possession. This was inheritance. Whatever had crawled into Bruce Banner's mind, that relic, that cosmic intelligence, it hadn't taken over. Bruce had outgrown it, absorbed it, refined it, turned it into purpose. Solar Hulk descended slowly, landing between Superman and Batman. The ground didn't crack this time. It yielded. "I don't want to fight you," he said, "but I will not stop." Thor stepped forward, jaw clenched. "Then you leave us no choice." Hulk looked at Thor with something close to fondness. "You're a god who learned humility. I respect that." Thor raised Mjolnir. Hulk caught it, not with strength, but with understanding. The hammer froze mid-air, then dropped. Thor fell to one knee, stunned. He judged me." Hulk turned back to Superman. "Your turn." Superman inhaled slowly. He could hear Lois's voice in his head. Jonathan Kent's lessons. All the reasons he didn't rule, didn't decide, didn't impose. But none of them mattered right now. Because for the first time, someone stood before him who could, and wasn't afraid to. Superman charged. This time, he didn't hold back. Heat vision cut across continents. Sonic booms shattered space itself. Their collision sent ripples through reality. Stars flickered. Dimensions screamed. And Solar Hulk matched him blow for blow. Not stronger, not faster, smarter. Every move Superman made, Hulk anticipated. Not because he could read his mind, but because he carried Superman's restraint within him. He knew when Clark would stop, when he would pull back, and he exploited it. The final sent Superman crashing into the ocean, sinking miles below the surface. Silence followed. Batman's fists clenched. Hulk turned toward him again. "You know this ends one of two ways," Hulk said. "Either you help me shape what comes next, or you spend the rest of your life trying to stop me." Batman stared up at him. "And if I choose neither?" Hulk smiled faintly. "Then you'll do what you always do. Prepare." Above them, alarms blared across the planet. Governments panicked. Satellites realigned. A single message echoed across every secure channel on Earth. Containment protocol. World End level entity confirmed. Batman knew that message. He'd written it years ago for Superman. and now it was being used for Hulk. Batman looked at the sky, then back at Solar Hulk. "This doesn't end cleanly," he said. Hulk nodded. "It never does." And somewhere deep inside him, Bruce Banner whispered, not in fear, not in regret, but in certainty. This was only the beginning. The world had a new God, not one forged in heaven or born of prophecy, but one made in rage, in logic, in trauma. A God who didn't rule with emotion or ego, but with clarity. And that's what made him terrifying. Solar Hulk hovered silently above the Pacific, his presence bending magnetic fields, warping satellites, and freezing military action before it even launched. Governments tried to target him, to track him, to even reason with him, but nothing reached him, because Bruce Banner was no longer answering the call. And Hulk had never taken orders. But deep below the earth, in the shadows beneath the Batcave, someone was already planning his fall. Batman sat alone. No suit, no armor, no Alfred, just silence, and the file in front of him, labeled HK Protocol, Hulk Kryptonian Contingency. He hadn't opened it in years, never needed to, until now. Across from him, a familiar voice echoed through a comlink. "You sure about this?" asked Black Panther. "We've fought Hulk before. We've fought Superman, but not this." "I'm not calling to ask for help," Batman replied. "I'm warning you." "What changed?" Batman stared at the glowing screen. "I saw his mercy, and that was the real danger. Because if Solar Hulk had come down screaming, destroying cities, flattening continents, the world would have united against him. But instead, he was saving people. Quietly, precisely. He stopped wars before they started, neutralized threats no one else even detected, deactivated nuclear arsenals mid-launch, and rebuilt a collapsed city in Argentina in 11 seconds. He wasn't conquering. He was improving the world. And that's when the betrayal began. Not Hulk's betrayal, the world's. Public opinion flipped faster than anyone predicted. Why fear the Hulk when he was making things better? Why question a god who was succeeding where every other hero had failed? They called him the Green Sun, worshipped him in whispers, memes, murals, movements. Even heroes started questioning their own sides. Wonder Woman said maybe it was time for a new kind of justice. The X-Men remained silent, too familiar with being feared for being different. And somewhere in the cosmic deep, the Silver Surfer simply watched. But not everyone was convinced. Superman was healing slowly in the Fortress of Solitude. His pride wasn't broken, but his understanding was. He'd always believed strength was meant to protect, not to dominate. But Solar Hulk wasn't dominating. He was convincing, and that was worse. Lois stood over him, arms crossed. "You're not scared of his power?" "No," Clark replied. "I'm scared of how much sense he makes." Elsewhere, Batman was already preparing the counter. He called in two beings. One, a weapon built for one purpose, containment, and the other, a mind brilliant enough to rival Bruce's own, Sentry, and Reed Richards. Neither of them hesitated, because they knew what was coming next. Not a battle, a choice, a test of will between gods who refused to kneel and men who refused to obey. But what none of them saw coming was betrayal. From within, inside the X-Mansion, Jean Grey felt it first, a ripple in psychic space, a split, and then a message burned across every high-level secure comm channel in the world. Project Ascension is live. And in the same moment, Tony Stark activated it. He hadn't vanished. He hadn't retired. He was building something. A synthetic being coded with the raw data of every Avenger, every Justice Leaguer, every enhanced mind and metahuman. An adaptive AI wrapped in vibranium-laced nanoskin, powered by an artificial solar core. Not Iron Man, not Ultron, something else. A replacement. You want a god? Tony had said months ago, "Fine, I'll build one." Now it was awake, and its first mission wasn't peace. It was balance. Solar Hulk noticed. Of course he did. As the synthetic descended from orbit like a falling star, Hulk turned slowly, staring up. For the first time, he looked disappointed. Not surprised, not angry, just quietly, deeply disappointed. They built another weapon. They still don't understand. And then came the words no one expected from the green sun. I gave them peace. The synthetic struck. The blast lit the sky like a second sun, swallowing clouds, sea, and sound itself. Shock waves knocked satellites out of orbit. The atmosphere ignited for a moment. The earth groaned. But when the light faded, Hulk was still standing, one hand outstretched, the synthetic's core crushed in his palm. This isn't balance, Hulk said quietly. This is fear. He dropped the body, turned away, and in that moment, Batman knew the truth. They had lost him, not because Hulk was evil, but because he no longer believed anyone else deserved to lead. Trust was shattered, hope twisted. Solar Hulk wasn't saving the world anymore. He was replacing it. The world stopped fighting, not because it surrendered, but because there was nothing left to say. Solar Hulk stood alone at the edge of Earth's atmosphere, gazing down, not as a conqueror, not as a protector, but as something entirely new, a being beyond sides, beyond compromise. He had stopped wars. He had ended hunger. He had rewritten the laws of energy distribution by turning sunlight into free, clean power for half the globe. And still they tried to kill him. They built machines, sent assassins, deployed gods. All of it failed, not because they were weak, but because he didn't fight them back. He allowed them to try just to see if they still believed in their cause. And now the final message came from him. A transmission untraceable, instant, and undeniable. You had your chance. You called me a monster when I was angry. You feared me when I was silent. And now that I brought order, you call me a tyrant. I am none of those things. I am what's left when your systems collapse. This planet doesn't need heroes anymore. It needs guardians. I'm staying. And if any of you try to stop me again, he paused. You won't. On the ground, the world was divided. Millions cheered. They wore his symbol, painted their homes green and gold. They called him the final shield. But deep in the Arctic, Superman was waiting, alive, scarred, focused. Batman joined him. No suits, no emblems, just two men who had failed to save a friend. We can't beat him, Superman said quietly. I know, Batman replied. So why are we here? Because he expects us to give up. Behind them, a third figure stepped from the shadows. Black Bolt, mute, deadly, invited by Batman with one simple reason. Hulk couldn't hear what wasn't spoken, couldn't predict what wasn't vocalized. Together, they walked into the final confrontation. Solar Hulk met them on a floating platform in the upper atmosphere, a place he created just for this moment. There were no armies, no weapons, just four beings, each holding the weight of universes in their shoulders. I warned you, Hulk said, not with anger, but with something worse, fatigue. You keep fighting the future. Why? Superman answered. Because the future doesn't need a king. I'm not a king. I'm a firewall. You're a prison, Batman said. And you don't even see it. For a moment, Hulk hesitated. Just a flicker. Barely there. Then Black Bolt stepped forward, eyes closed. He placed his hand over his heart, then opened his mouth, and whispered a single word. A whisper so soft, no ear could catch it. But the force shattered the sky. The platform cracked. The vacuum screamed. Solar Hulk was knocked back, not because of the power, but because of what was said. Not destruction, not command, just one word, Bruce. And that changed everything. Because somewhere, buried beneath layers of cosmic force and reconstructed willpower, Bruce Banner heard his name. He blinked, paused, and for the first time in days, he exhaled. Superman moved, not to strike, to reach. He placed his hand on Hulk's shoulder. You haven't failed, he said, but you're not done being human. I'm not human, Hulk replied. I outgrew that. But Bruce didn't, Batman said. And he's still in there. Silence. Then Hulk stepped back. His glow faded slightly. The red vanished from his eyes. The golden aura flickered. A tremor went through the planet, like a heartbeat finally slowing down. He fell to one knee and whispered, "I'm tired." Superman caught him. Batman activated a containment sequence, not a prison, but a healing chamber. Designed by Reed, enhanced by Wakandan biotech, reinforced with psychic fields from Jean Grey herself. Not to stop the Hulk, but to give Bruce Banner rest. True rest. As the chamber closed, the world watched again. No violence, no final blow, just stillness. A monster who became a god who remembered he was human, and three men who didn't win by fighting, but by refusing to give up on a friend. The world spun on. Politics scrambled. New threats rose. But something changed forever. Because for the first time, Earth knew what it meant to be truly vulnerable. Not to war or invasion or extinction, but to power with purpose. And yet, deep in space, where the echoes of Hulk's energy still hummed, something was listening. Something old. Something hungry. Because now the galaxy knew Earth had created the impossible. A creature strong enough to rewrite fate, and kind enough to let it go. The end. For now.